Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio, your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Hello and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where we proudly provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. I'm Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, and today's show is The Wise Ones. And if you were expecting Red O'Loughlin, he is on holiday and has the day off. It is my absolute pleasure to continue carrying on with this episode of our show. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to our YouTube channels. I know people are watching on many other platforms, but YouTube gives us real information. Go over to USA Global TV and Radio and Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. All right, our guest today is Sandy Lawrence, and Sandy is a former business owner who is retired and is also a publicist, and she actually works with people free of charge. And if she can't help in some type of capacity, she is happy to refer you on to other people. Wow, what a privilege and honor. Let's welcome Sandy to the program. Hello, Sandy. How are you today?
Hello, Dr. Jackie. How are you? Dr. Jacqueline. Sorry.
That's okay. I'm doing well. You're joining us from the Houston, Texas area in the US of A?
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, I want to thank you for joining us, and I want to get right into it. So you are a former business owner, and tell us what it is that you did and what did you enjoy about it?
Well, after retiring from working for Hewlett-Packard / Compaq for 30 years, I was not ready to retire at that age. So I started a marketing company, which is what I'd done. Never dreaming the path that my business would take. But after a short time, I realized that my favorite clients were the authors and those that were independent authors. That's how I met Red O'Loughlin, is through his books that he was publishing, and he had several networking groups. I spoke at those, he spoke at mine. You know, it was just part of building the business. And I did not realize when I worked for the corporation how important networking was. And so the more I learned about it, the more I loved it. And I started working then exclusively with authors for about the past 15 years of my business. Loved it, loved it, loved it. I was a publicist. I knew how to get the right attention. I knew the basic principles of marketing work, whether your product is a book or a computer. You wanted to know, and I wanted to show them, that the audience, you want to know who is your audience and what message are they hearing, so you can, as we called it, mimic the market. And from that, then I just learned all there was to learn about, not all there was to learn, I wish I had known all that, but about publishing and how to publish and who to publish with, how to get an agent if that's what you want. All of those things I learned and applied those to my clients as well. So great time, great business. I retired in 2021, so this will be my 5th year of retirement. And after a couple of years of watching all the TV shows I had missed for the last 20-something years, I realized that's not how I wanted to spend my last days on this earth. As I'm preparing for heaven and to spend the rest of eternity with Jesus, who I am a believer, I wanted to continue to help authors. And so that's when I started just, through my contacts on LinkedIn and Instagram and all of those, I started offering, if you want to If you want to call with me, absolutely no charge whatsoever. If you want someone to go and literally design your book cover, then I'll turn you over to somebody that knows how to do that, and which is not me. So anyway, so that's how I've been working in retirement. So that way, sometimes I work, sometimes I don't, not dependent on the income, not looking to grow the business, just want to be of service to anyone who wants to and has the courage to put their story to print. And that's what I am a firm believer is everyone has a story. And your story deserves to be told. And I want to help people tell their story.
Wow, that's absolutely beautiful. And by the way, I have to say, I had a little bit of a chuckle when you were saying after I got done watching all the TV shows that I had missed over all those years. It's so true because when I retired, it's like, oh, what do I need to catch up on? And then you're like, what's next? Like, what am I going to do next? So I want to talk a little bit because I think what you just said, you had two key words that are really important: marketing and then publicist. And sometimes for authors don't actually understand these concepts. They think, well, wait a minute, I finally got it out of my head into a concrete item that is available for people to purchase. What do you mean market it? What is that about? Can you tell us more, Sandy?
Yes, and I'll tell you that was the biggest obstacle that I had to overcome was someone who has taken years of putting their story, writing their story, getting it edited and doing all that. And then they're like, they just unfortunately think they can just sit back and the Amazon sales will just come rolling in. And that's not how it works. Somebody has to first know that your book exists. And I did a test once with one of my clients, and I took her to Barnes & Noble, one of the largest bookstore chains ever. And we went to the place where her book is a self-help book. We went there, and I took her book with me, and I just put it on the shelf with the binding showing, not the front cover, because you don't get that much space in a bookstore. And I'm like, so I hid it, just put it there. I'm like, so you find your book for me. And of course, I guess, but they did not find it. So, because you're not used to looking for that spine of the book. Anyway, so I was able to show that nobody is going to just walk in the Barnes & Noble and stumble on your book. Even if they're looking for a self-help book, even though they're looking maybe for you, the author, you just don't see it that well enough just to fall on top of the book and get it. So you have to make sure that your audience, the people who are looking for self-help books, know where to find your book in the midst of the other self-help books. And I could tell you, Dr. Jacqueline, I could tell you all kind of secrets that I learned over the years when I was doing it. But there's still, every day that we live in this world we live in now, there's new things, new ways. When I first started, you didn't try to become an influencer with Instagram or have a group on Facebook or any. You just went on and started telling people about your book. But there's definitely new things discovered every day on how to market your book. One of the things I realized is we've all heard of certain books. There's a New York Times bestseller. There's some that have been around. There's authors that have written a number of books. And those people that are, so you want to, you have heard of them. And I'm trying to say that you want to connect that. I wanted to connect my client's name with that author who was very well known. So the way to do that, of course, marketing, but then you can create these, if you like this, then you'll like this, a similar book. So you want to make sure that was just one of the marketing ways, one of the marketing tips. And if you look up to Amazon, which is our best example and a great example, you'll see books and you'll see where, if you like Westerns, and here's a Western. If you like Lonesome Dove, then here's a book that's similar to people that like love. So just making a connection with someone, another book that's similar, is just one idea of things. There are hundreds of thousands of ideas out there, and you just go with what works. And sometimes you go through trial and error before you find what works.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, so I really appreciate it. I was going to say we're getting some feedback that half of you is cut off when people watching on their phone. So if you can move in the middle a little more, that would be great.
Okay, and I don't know why I'm getting two as well. So
there you go. Yeah, that's perfect. Now we can see you. Fantastic. Okay. Thank you. So Sandy, I'm very familiar with publicists and publicity. I'm actually a publicist myself. And so many people don't understand what does a publicist do and what is the value? And just to take it a step further, sometimes people have said to me, oh, publicists are for rich people. What are your thoughts about that?
I think that's the general consensus, the general idea is that people think that you have to have a lot of money, which there are some publicists that have been successful, have made books into, New York Times bestsellers. That's our best example. And so they earned the right to charge that. I never wanted to work necessarily with the bestsellers. My heart went out to the independent author, the ones that struggled, the ones that had very little money and then not money to invest in marketing a book because they had a family or they had a business to run. So just getting in there and working with the client, working with what they do. But you did ask about what is a publicist. And so let me switch gears a little bit and say that a publicist is a marketer. It's the person that manages. It's a PR person. So publicist is PR, marketing, sales, and technical support. Whatever your client needs, that's what a publicist is. And I loved it because I've always been a person I've serviced. And so I love being able to work round the clock to help them find the right contacts, to find an agent. I worked with one client who said, I do not want to independently publish. I want an agent. And so I learned everything there was about finding an agent and where you found them and how to find them and how to interview them and how to look good in the interview, all that. So a publicist is just kind of like the general marketing and the marketing manager kind of rolled into one.
Thank you so much for explaining that. I really appreciate it. You also mentioned agents. So for people who are out there, let's just have a little bit of a kind of a educational thing. I know people who have been paid money to sell their books, right? So they have like the big book publishers are promoting them and they provide a certain number of chapters, then they have to finish the book. And then when the book starts selling, they have to cover whatever the advance was. And so people out there might be thinking, oh, well, I'd like to do that. How do I get a big publisher to pick up my book? Is that through an agent?
That is typically through an agent. Yes, not always. I mean, you have some publishers that are going to stumble on your book or, the salesperson may meet you at a conference. There's a lot of ways that you could meet a publisher. However, as a general rule, if you want someone to sell your book or you want to sell your book to a publisher, you need someone who has the inside track with that publisher. And they have a staff. All the big publishers have a staff of agents. And so this agent will know everything there is. They will help you with the editing. They will help you have the best book you can have because that's in their interest. They're going to sell the book, and of course they get a percentage. So if you get whatever $1,000 advance, as you were talking about, then they get a percentage, and you get a percentage. And as you said, Dr. Jacqueline, if you don't sell the book, if they don't, as a matter of fact, if you go to that course and you have an agent and the agent sells it to the publisher, there's typically an agreement that if you don't sell enough to cover your advance, you will owe that back to the publishing company. They're not going to lose money as a general rule. They don't want to lose money. None of us want to lose money. So so anyway, they will sell to the publisher. You get the advance to go help you with your marketing or help you with whatever you need money for, I guess. Mostly it is help to market the book. And then if you don't sell enough to cover the advance, then you will owe that back to the publishing.
Thank you for that explanation. And Sandy, one of the things that I'm wondering is we've had the privilege here of interviewing New York Times bestselling authors, USA Today. But for most people like myself, the New York Times is not recognizing me. I'm not getting some huge check or advance. So would you be able to walk our audience through, like, how does that actually happen? Like, if you are thinking to yourself, well, my book is going to be the next New York Times bestseller, what's the reality of that?
I don't want to say zero, but if it's your first book, it's very low. The reality, the chances that you'll make a New York Times bestseller. Because first of all, let's understand what makes a New York Times bestseller. And I'm assuming it's the same for all the newspapers or the ones that are newspapers. But with the New York Times, it's sold through the bookstore. So you could go sell 100,000 copies of your book and not sell it to a bookstore, and it's not going to help your ratings as far as the newspapers is concerned in the bestseller status. So if you're selling your book through bookstores, and as remember I said Barnes & Noble, the big one, so you would want to focus a lot of marketing on Barnes & Noble rather than your independent bookstores who may not ever have the sales that you would want to get to make it to the New York Times bestseller. Sorry, my nose is itching here. So you would then go and sell all your marketing would be focused on Barnes & Noble and hiring somebody to help you with Barnes & Noble. So because the number of books sold at the end of the week, which Saturday they consider the end of the week, they look back. They do it anyway. They look back to see exactly what books sold the most for the entire week, and they rate that. And then, of course, next week they're going to do the same. They do it weekly. The next week's the same thing, and they look to see, did you go up, down? Are you still in the top as far as bestsellers concerned? And then that's how they rank you as far as New York Times bestseller.
Thank you, Sandy. Just a question that popped into my head. So we'll see a lot of A-list celebrities, at least here in the States, and they'll write a book and say, oh, my book was a New York Times bestseller. Is there any type of elimination or exclusion if a person purchases X number of copies themselves? I mean, people could do that, right? If you have the money, you could say, well, we'll just take 100,000 worth ourselves.
That would be a big investment to do that because books are at a minimum $20 usually from Amazon. So now they have a lot of others, and this is so new that I'm not sure how they measure like the Kindle sales. And then there's the thing that Amazon has where if you enroll your book or register your book in this, I don't even remember what it was called, but it was, you can read it free. Kindle Unlimited, that's it. Kindle Unlimited, thank you, God. If you read books through the Kindle Unlimited, then the author gets paid. So the author pays for Kindle Unlimited or whoever manages the money. And then each week they look to see, and the author gets paid. Not a lot, but they do get paid for that. And so then, do they enter that into the New York Times bestseller or any of the bestsellers? I don't know. I have no idea how that part of it works because it's new. I mean, not real new, but it's just a couple of years old. So that, and then but the main way is, of course, selling the hard copies. That's what the print copies That's what authors want, is to have that printed copy out there. I personally have because I did so many book shows, book conferences, book conventions, and carrying around a suitcase or a box or something full of books is not fun. It's a heavy. And by the end of the week, when you've had to move it around several times, if you were at Book Expo America, at the end of the week, I would give them away and pay for them rather than bring them back to Houston. So those are just some things I learned along the way. Lots of little tips. I could probably write a book on 100,000 tips for selling books. And they're fun. I mean, for me, I loved every minute of it. I didn't enjoy carrying boxes of books, but I still loved going to the conferences. I would wait in line. I remember one time, I forgot who the author was, but the authors give away their new books. So they want to get that attention. And so you had to wait in line, and sometimes that line could be, a few hours long. I have waited in line for at least 2 hours to get a book so that I could, if it was in the same genre that my client's book was, then I would offer that author, like, okay, I want to take one of your books. I'll write you a review. I'll do whatever. But I want to give you a book for my client. And I hope you'll read it. And if you want to make a comment or anything, then just contact me and I put my card in the book. Love doing that. Did get some visibility, not nearly as much as I wanted, but I did get some visibility with that.
Good for you. That takes a lot of courage to do
learn that. I'd see somebody else doing something and I'm like, oh, that is a great idea. And then I'm not above stealing people's ideas from them. So I come home and I'm like, next time I'm going to have a packet ready. I learned how to strategically put the press kit in the room where all the press was located at a conference. So I just walk in, talk to some people, and leave a copy of the press kit. So then anybody could see it and possibly contact them. So, lots of tricks.
No, there's some great ideas. And I want to share with you some things that happened to me when I was traveling in Europe last summer with my books. But first, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And the commercial break is going to be on my new book that is coming out. It's called Stop Giving Away Your Value. And I wrote it because I interview so many people who are always giving everything away. And in your case, you're retired and it's a different place. But active business owners who are giving everything away for free and wondering why they're broke. So let's take a look and we'll be right back with Sandy.
How much of your value have you been giving away? Saying yes when the answer should have been no? Lowering your price to secure the opportunity? Giving more while receiving less? Over time, it adds up. Until one moment brings clarity, you've been giving away your value. This is not about working harder. This is not about doing more. It's about boundaries. It's about pricing. It's about respect. From Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck comes a direct and necessary message. Stop over-delivering. Stop underpricing your expertise. Stop negotiating against yourself. Because when you recognize your value, everything changes. Stop giving away your value. Boundaries, pricing, and the business of respect. Available now wherever fine books are sold and on Amazon. A film by USA Global TV and Radio. Executive producer Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Videographer and cinematic production Paul Garcia. Voiceover by Ed Wargas. Stop giving it away. Start owning it.
Welcome back to The Wise Ones here on USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. I'm filling in for Mr. Red O'Loughlin, who is on holiday. Our very special guest today is Sandy Lawrence. Sandy has decades of experience in marketing and also as a publicist, and she is offering her services. She's retired now, so she's happy to help out or refer you on if you are looking for some support. Sandy, thanks for being here. It's good to have you back.
I'm loving it, Dr. Jacqueline. I honestly, this was one of my favorite things to do when I was working. So thank you for the opportunity.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. So what I wanted to share with you is to your story that you had last year. I was fortunate enough to go over to Europe twice, to London and a number of other places in Greece. And I was speaking and I was doing my courses. And so I decided to take some of my books with me, as well as some logo merchandise. And when I got to the airport with my 2 giant suitcases, my bags were completely overweight because of all the books and the sweatshirts and everything else. And what ended up happening, exactly what you said, I did my keynote presentations. I just gave them away. I'm like, please take these books. And people are like, can we pay? I'm like, no, take the books. And so today I just give my books away. If people buy them, that's great. But I walk around in the gym where I work out. There's a bunch of children on my children's books. I just sign them and give them away. So people might think that as an entrepreneur, as a business person, that that's a big mistake. How would you react to that? And what would you advise?
No, I don't think it's a mistake. I mean, look how many, how much, I guess, instead of how many, how much that some of these larger corporations give away. I know when I worked for Compaq, we gave away computers after computers. Now, we gave them away with a direct intent of selling more. But people, users, clients have to experience the product before they are going to invest a lot of money in it. And I think that's the same thing with authors. You can, if you want to, you can go sit in a library or a bookstore and just read a book without buying it and put it back on the shelf. So I think that anytime you can get someone to read your book, you're ahead of the game. You're spreading the word, so to speak, of your book and your story, and especially if it's one where, like, I've been asked to write my story sometime because I've had quite an exciting life actually, and I just have not sat down to write. It's a lot more fun for me to talk about it than to write. So, but I do think about it on a regular basis, and I understand, and I do know that if I'm going to spend time telling my story and then spend money, and this is what, if I don't look for an agent and try to sell to a big publisher, if I go the independent route, then, that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. And so would I happily give it away? Absolutely. Because first of all, I want my story told. And so therefore I'm willing to give it away, period. It's just so people can have my story or speak about it. So I've done a lot of speaking before I retired on my life as a Christian, as a believer, and then all some of the other stories, lots of stories. I love stories. So a quick story: my grandchildren, for 1 year for Christmas, gave me this membership in this group that would have you write your memoir. And so each week they had to put together the whole outline for me. So I have a year's outline of how to tell my story, and I keep it. Never have written anything. I wrote the first 2 or 3 chapters, but then I'm like, oh man, this is more work than I thought it was. So anyway, yes, I do believe in that philosophy that you give, you receive. And so you want to have people buy your book, then give them 1 copy. And maybe there's a whole group and they have they have a book club, or they have a large family, and maybe they've gone through some similar things that you have. So there's always, I don't, unless it's at the end of a conference, just blanketly give away hundreds of copies of the book, but I definitely give away a copy here and there just to feed the frenzy, so to speak. So people would want to buy the book, or if they read it, then they would buy it as a gift for other people. So it is definitely a good thing to do, I think.
I appreciate that. And so people might think to themselves, well, wait, you just played a movie trailer on stop giving away your value, and now you're talking about giving it away. So what I just want to share with that, and then I'd love to have your thoughts, Sandy. Part of me thinks I have written and published 27 books, and I've I hold courses, I own a television network. My intent is it's sort of like a business card, and you get to the end of the book and you see all the ways that you can contact me and the ways that we can work together. And so the thought is, okay, I don't mind giving this away if it's a $20 book and it actually costs me $10, whatever it is. Maybe you'll go buy some of my other books, or maybe you'll follow me on USA, whatever it might be. So to me, it's kind of like a loss leader. What are your thoughts of that as a strategy?
I prefer to call it an investment.
Yes, very good. I like that.
So I'm going to invest in the book sales for my clients, for me, when I have clients. And so, yes, we definitely, but at the same time, you do want to like count the cost. You don't want to just give away thousands and hope for the best. So, but giving one away, you want to give one to some publishers. They're not going to buy a book they haven't read or haven't had the opportunity to read. And you've got multiple different styles of marketing. So some people want a publicist, some just want somebody to help them with Amazon sales. And Amazon has definitely just changed the market where books are concerned. And another thing I wanted to add too, I just thought of that. Amazon, yes, that's a great, great way to sell books. And another thing, because Amazon has made it so easy to publish books, and because there are so many independent book publishers now, then you have a lot more opportunity, and more people are writing books and more people are publishing books. So I read a statistic that I don't remember the numbers, but I do remember that I did this probably like 7 or 8 years ago. And that year alone, there were more books published than had been published before that in total. So it's just amazing what's going on with the book publishing world. And every time I'm watching television in the morning, especially watching one of the news shows, somebody's on there with a book that they just published, and they're, making the rounds. You can always tell, or I'm sure you could tell, Dr. Jacqueline, that they're making the PR rounds. And so you'll see them on the Today Show or the Good Morning America, depending on what level of book or what level of author. So there's just all kind of things that you can do that would help you, And then these conferences, when you go there, you can pay a couple $1,000 to set up a booth and have your books there for everybody to see. Or in our case, I had a friend that worked with me, and we were not friends before I started marketing books, but we would take multiple authors we'd pay for the booth. And in Texas, they have the Texas Library Association, which is the number one way of selling books outside the bookstore in Texas. And so we would go set up our booth. And if you wanted to have your book in our booth, then you could pay us, $100 or something like that. And then we would have the authors come in, and they could spend their time in the booth. So they got a chance to speak directly to the audience. There's just so many, like I said, and the more I'm telling you, Dr. Jacqueline, the more I'm remembering, oh, that's right, we did this. So yes, there's lots of ways of marketing a book, and giving them away absolutely makes sense, especially at the end of a conference.
Thank you, Sandy. So I just want to share a quick story, and then I'd love to have your thoughts about it. So as someone who was a new author, I think 4 years ago, I thought how important it is that I get that little flag or whatever it is, emblem on Amazon, #1 new release, or #1 or top, or whatever it is. So Red actually trained me. He was my book coach. And I think if I have 27 books out now, he probably did 23 of them. And so in every case, except for one, I was able to get that little flag, and I was up every hour on the hour checking on Amazon. And so now that I publish the books myself, I realize, and this is where I'd really like your input, even though I got all of those little flags, it really meant nothing, because you take a screenshot and you post it, but then the next hour it's somebody else. And it's not like I was selling hundreds and thousands of books. So for people out there who are thinking, okay, well, this is the most important thing, What is the most important thing about getting your book out there? Is it putting it into the bookstores? Is it getting on Amazon and getting the little flag? What is it?
Okay, that you would ask a very difficult question, because I'm not sure there is one thing that's better than all the rest. However, there are lots of things that are good, and I suggest you do all of them. So, but with a plan. So if you, like you're talking about the Amazon bestseller, and I remember when that idea first was, being marketed, and we then added it to our services. So, yes, if you wanted to be in the New York Times bestseller, and they have it down to you can be the bestseller in, you go way down in the list of categories that you could be in. Lots of opportunity for that. And yes, it's gone in a minute, but the marketing is not gone in a minute. It will forever be an Amazon bestseller. So in the marketing materials, you can now call yourself a best-selling author, and you can call yourself an Amazon bestseller. And now I know most people know exactly what's involved, but still, that word bestseller is now attached to your name. You can use it as a hashtag. You can use it however you want to. That is now in your bailiwick of things that you did as an author. You were an Amazon bestseller. Also local papers. So we have in Houston, we have the Houston Chronicle, which has a book list, and they have a bestseller list. So very important that you look at your location, because even though it might not be a city like Houston, which we obviously know that. Maybe you didn't, but Houston has probably 6 or 7 million people now. We are one of the top 10 best sized cities in the United States. All of that. So if you get recognized by the Houston Chronicle, that's a big deal. That is a big deal. However, there's a lot of little papers. There's I live in this section of Houston called Cypress. So Cypress has a little paper, and they have things about books in there. So you can go to them and say, I'm an author, would love to have your, my name on your bestseller list. You can give them your information and give them a copy of the book. And very, very doable that you become a bestseller with them. So there's a lot of ways of being a bestseller. And when you add them together, then you have bestseller for, for the newspapers, you have bestsellers for the book clubs, you have bestsellers for any number of different groups will have a bestseller, a best-selling author. Children's books, you could be in different, categories of books. So I do think it's important. I think it's definitely worthwhile. And it's, it may not put you to the New York Times bestseller immediately, but it's another step. And there's lots of steps. And sometimes you can take steps and go one way when all of a sudden that way disappears. So there's just a lot of starting and stopping in other words. However, all of them are legitimate steps that will take you in the direction you want to go. And giving away a book is, like we said, that's a good thing to do. The publicity you get from giving away the book is even more valuable. So if you're going to give away books, take pictures of it. Take pictures of you giving the book to, and in your categories, Dr. Jacqueline, you obviously have a book that's for authors. And so there's just a lot of contacts you can make, a lot of visibility. You can do a press release on it. You can do, of course, social media on anything that you do as far as giving away the book. So it's all of it is good. My firm belief is that you need a marketing plan. And that plan would be that you're going to go for this mass of people, this small group of people, and you have a lot of the little small groups, and maybe 2 or 3 a year of the big ones that you spend time and money.
Sandy, you are a powerhouse and dynamo. Thank you so much for all of this brilliant information.
Well, I don't know if I answered your question, because every time I say something, it opens up another memory, and I'm like, oh, that's right, that's what we did. So
no, you certainly did.
You'll have to have me back on sometime when I've caught up a little bit on my memories.
Absolutely. Well, we've got plenty of other shows for you to come back on, so please do. And Sandy, we've been sharing your phone number for people to get in touch with you. And so if they're outside the United States, they could use WhatsApp. Please repeat again your offer to assist, and who would you like to reach out to you?
Okay, so I want to help authors. I want to be of service to authors, especially independent, but not exclusive. If you have a question, or you want suggestions, or you want some marketing advice, anything along those lines, feel free to call me. I am on WhatsApp, so you can find me there, or you can text me. If you're in the United States, text me to my phone number, and I'll be happy to work with you that way, or email. I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me there. So just however you want to get in touch with me. I do not charge. I do not charge for service to authors. If, however, after we've gone through and had as many meetings as you want and had all the conversations, if then you decide, okay, I want somebody to actually put my marketing plan together, or I want someone to help me with my social media on a regular basis, that's wonderful. I don't do that for free. I don't do that, as a matter of fact. So not interested. I'm busy enough. And with all the phone calls I'm going to get from this, I'm happy to spend my time on the phone all day. So that said, just feel free to reach out to me however you want, and I will be glad to respond. And we can set up a call, and there is no charge.
Thank you, Sandy. What a generous offer. I really appreciate that. So please do come back and see us on one of our other shows. And until then, I really love your energy and just how kind and generous of a person you are.
Thank you, Dr. Jacqueline. It's great to meet you. I've heard a lot about you, so it's nice to meet you. And I'll have to make sure to say a special thanks to Red O'Loughlin for introducing me.
Absolutely. Thank you again. Bye, Sandy.
Bye, Dr. Jacqueline.
Bye. And thank you to Red for bringing Sandy to our platform, and what a generous and kind offer. So please do reach out. All the information is there in the show notes. Okay, we're going to close out, and selfishly, I'm going to run 2 more of my book promos. So take a look at these, and if I can be of assistance, if our team can assist, we do social media marketing. We also do press releases, and we also work as a publicist. So thank you again. We will see you for our next program. Bye. My Tummy Hurts by Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Meet Jackie. She loves recess, running with friends, and laughing on the playground. At school, Jackie tries to play like she always does, but suddenly the pain comes back. Lately, something feels different and her tummy hurts, sometimes a little and sometimes a lot. With the help of a caring teacher, a nurse, her mom, and a kind doctor, Jackie begins to understand what her body is trying to tell her. Sometimes tummy pain is more than a simple bellyache. Some children live with conditions like ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease. Jackie listens to her body. She asks for help. She knows she's not alone. And Jackie finds her way back to running, laughing, and being herself. My Tummy Hurts, a kid's guide to bellyaches and bathroom troubles by Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, available on Amazon and in fine bookstores around the world.
In a quiet seaside town in Greece, where sunlight warms the stone paths and the sea whispers nearby, a new adventure begins. Lady Ella and her brother Lord Jack have arrived with an important mission: to teach kindness, patience, and the power of listening. In a hidden alley, a group of forgotten cats feel unseen and unheard, lost in silence and growing misunderstandings, until someone finally takes the time to truly listen. Because when we listen from the heart, loneliness softens, kindness grows, and new friendships begin. This is Book 10 of The Amazing Adventures of Lady Ella, the Listening Mentor book series. Find all Dr. Kerbeck's books on Amazon and in fine bookstores worldwide.
In a world that moves fast, there's strength in the woman who moves with grace. Introducing Bay London, where confidence meets craftsmanship. Each piece is intentionally designed for the woman who knows her worth, crafted from luxurious Italian eco-fabrics that feel as good as they look. With elegant coverage, effortless support, and timeless style, our swimwear celebrates both your body and your essence. Founded by fashion expert Carrie Sykes, Bay London is made for women who want to feel sexy, stylish, and seen. From poolside to beachside, sunrise to sunset, Bay London outfits you for every moment that matters. Because beauty isn't about age, it's how you wear your confidence. Bay London, confidence, elegance, effortless luxury. Visit baylondon.com. Act now for your exclusive friends and family discount of $35. Scan the QR code. Bay London, where confidence meets craftsmanship. Proud sponsor of USA Global TV and Radio.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/USAGlobalTV. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.